Hey everyone, it's Seven Bell Canto. Welcome back to my channel. I have another review for you today. I just finished the third story or novella in the Mistletoe Christmas anthology. The third work was called Compromise Under the Mistletoe by Janna MacGregor. And this was a lovely story. It was a 4 for the spice rating, which was for Strongish sexual content, and my Goodreads rating was a 4 as well. So I found this really interesting because this is my first time reading like a full anthology, so I'm not sure if this is common or if it was just the author, because I've never read anything by Miss MacGregor before. But in the story, it was very spicy, and I didn't know if that was sort of like an antidote that's used in anthologies or what, but it was so spicy that it kind of took away from the plot for me. So in this story, it features, I believe her title was Lady. Yes, Lady Caroline Whitmore, who is a cousin of Cressida, who is from like the original story, and her husband, Stephen. So this was sort of interesting. It was my first, I believe it was the first story I've read where the couple is already married. So that was kind of an interesting twist, because I'm pretty sure that's the first time that's occurred in my readings of historical romances. But so this couple is already happily married, so that was interesting, because typically you kind of think of that Jane Austen where they get married and that's the end. You know, but this couple was cool because they've already done the ending and they're married. And so it was sort of their life, I guess, as newlyweds. They didn't have children, and seeing as they didn't have birth control back then, I would assume they were basically newlyweds, because ain't no way to stop babies from coming back then. So in this, the two characters, Caroline and Stephen, they are kind of sad and angsty for one another because they have to sleep in separate bedrooms. So one thing to note with this story was you probably need the historical context of like back in this time, which is the 1815, and really it can still happen in today's world where depending where you are and such, couples, wed or unwed, couldn't share the same room. Now in today's world, you can most likely, maybe in some parts of the world, you can't share a room with your spouse. But yeah, so that was interesting. So they're really like clamoring for one another, because it doesn't say that they're newlyweds, but I just kind of had that idea in my head with how they were acting. But they are very sad that they cannot spend the night with one another, even in just the same bed, whether they're canoodling or whatever. But Caroline even says, like, maybe I could get a cot and have it in the room, and we can do all these sort of secret little sneakaways to make it look like we had two different bedrooms and really we're in the same bed together. So I thought that was kind of a humorous vignette in the story. But overall, the story is basically about high tensions between this married couple about wanting to get together and express their love for one another. And just overall, it was a very spicy story. Wasn't much plot, I think, because they were a married couple. It was just sort of like their love for one another, and also like trying to find a space to be with one another in certain ways. So I think there might be a carriage scene if you're into carriages. Look for this story. But yeah, I thought the characters are nice. They weren't fully developed, but I got enough to be interested in them. The plot, kind of, I'm not sure if there was a plot other than they were a sweet romantic couple, and people didn't really love Caroline. I think her mother had done something wrong, and back then it was sort of like generational guilt and generational judgment, I guess. So because her mother had done some sort of faux pas, people weren't really kindly to Caroline, and she kind of had to outlive her mother's shadow. So that was kind of sad. And Stephen seemed a really strong, supportive spouse, and he seemed well liked by everyone. He was a lord, I believe. So he must have had some social standing where he had the clout not to be judged or overlooked. But overall, it was a nice story. The steam and angst in it boosted it up to the 4 Goodreads rating, because it wasn't like a fun, fully thought out story for me. It was very steamy, and so that was fun. So maybe that's sort of an antidote in anthologies, is to have like 4 to 6 stories, and one of them is just pure spice. Wasn't quite sure, but it was still an enjoyable story. If you're looking for a spicy holiday novella, then check out the 3rd story from Mistletoe Christmas. And again, this is the 3rd story, which is called Compromise Under the Mistletoe, which I found interesting because I didn't see anyone getting in a compromising position. But either way, I like the story. I like that compromise position. That's one of my favorite tropes. And that story was by Janna MacGregor. So everyone, I hope you've had a good day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, as well as comment. And I will see y'all very, very soon for another video. Happy Vlogmas. See y'all soon. Bye, everyone.